Hi and welcome to Java NetBeans of Employee Database Management System. Let me show you how this works. I'm going to enter these employee details in there, and let's say the NI is that. Right here the name. So the name is Louis Stanley and is male. Date of birth, and it should be 19, and is on wages of there. So we can always click on add, and there we go. System update, click on OK. There, if we go right down here, you should be able to see Louis Stanley there. Look at that. Okay, before we go into Java NetBeans, just to prove to you that everything is saved inside the database, all of this information are saved inside SQL browser. We can always go straight to the browser. Let's open, locate wherever the file is. That's it right there. Click, and that is the database. Open up the database. There we go. Now select it and let's browse. There, and that's Stanley right there. Okay, so you will also need this SQL browser and some other components. So let's go straight into Java NetBeans and we put one of these together. And welcome to Java NetBeans. Now I'm going to start by clicking on File, select New Project, and there select Java Application, click on Next. Give your project a name, so I'm going to call that, let's say, Employee or Employer Database. Right, and I'm going to uncheck that. Let's copy that Employer Database, click on Finish. Now right up there, the employer database is ready. So the next thing I would like to do is click on employer database. Right there, just right click on it and let's select new, and I'm going to select JFrame. Now let's give it a name. It's called employer database as well, and the package is called employer database. Now click on Finish. Now that the form is ready, right click on the form. Let's select set layout, and I'm going to set the layout as absolute layout. The next thing I'm going to do is right click on this, select the properties, select code, and right there let's change the size to 1400 by 700, and where we have generate center, check 1400 by 700. Click on close. That is fine. The next thing I would like to do is go to the palette, select label, paste that on board, back to the palette, let's select text field, paste that there, and now let's select button. There we go, drop that there. And we also need a table. That is our table right there. Click, drop somewhere there. Now for these components, these two components, in fact all of these components together, select it all, go straight to the properties, and let's increase the font size to something readable. So I'm going to make that bold, 24 there. That is good enough. Now select these two, move them apart a little bit more. I'm going to need 8 of those. Copy, paste, drag. Now copy both of those, paste and drag again, and copy one more time. Alright, now I have 8 of those on board, and I'm going to need 4 of these. Copy, paste, paste, and one more. Alright, so I have those there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is right click on this and change the data we have in there to employee ID. There's a P missing. ID. And this is going to be known as, let's see, what's that? The next one is going to be known as surname. Oh no, NI number. Right, and so on. I'm going to now speed that up and get back to you guys. Alright, this is how it looks now. So the next thing I'd like to do is let's change this as well, and change that to add data. The variable name is going to be known as jbtn add data, and followed by, let's change that to print, and the variable name will also be known as print, jbtn print, jbtn print. Next one is going to be known as clear. So clear data, and that will be known as clear data, jbtn clear data. And finally, we have exit. Variable name is exit, jbtn exit. Done. Now let's come to the table. Select the table, go to the properties, and let's look for model. Click on model. Let's change that, the very first one. Let's change that to employee ID. Now the next one, NI number, and followed by first name. We have surname next. We only have 4. Let's make that 8. Enter 8 in here, or you can just select insert. Now bring this 2 down, or that up. Move up. Now add 2 more. There. Now the next one. Change the next one to gender, followed by date of birth, and that'll be age. The next one will be age, followed by salary. There, all done. Okay, that is fine. Click on OK. See the table? Let's enlarge it that much. Let's go back to the property and get rid of those columns. Let's come into model again and change the column. Instead of 4, make that 0. So we use the system to increment the column. That is fine. Now the next thing I'd like to do is we need to import the following, or download the following really. First of all, you will have to import this driver right here, this very driver. All of these details will be added onto my description area, and we also need the SQL browser. We need to download and install that as well. Once that is installed, this is how the SQL browser will look like. There, right there. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, I will now copy that. Now paste that here to copy the driver. That should take us straight to where we can copy the SQLite JDBC driver. Click on that. This is the latest 3.23. Click on that to download it. Yeah, mine is downloaded already. The next thing you need to now do is to, if you don't have the browser, highlight, copy the link. I will include this link for you guys, and I'm going to open up the link for the browser as well, the SQLite browser. That is the link of the SQLite browser. Come right there and install that onto your system. Now double click on the browser to open it up. There we go. Now click on new database right there to create a new database. You want to give your database a name, go ahead, give it a name. Look for wherever your file is. Like I have mine inside my document, and that is the project file, so I'm going to give that a name. I'll call it employee, or employee. That's fine. That's the name of my database. This name will be used throughout this tutorial. Employee. Click on save. If you notice, I'm saving employee. Let me make that, let's put an S to it, employees, or employee.db. okay, that's fine. Click on save. There we go. Now the next thing you want to do is to create the table. Okay, now add a field. There we go. So the first field is going to be employee ID. That's my very first field, no space, and that will also be my primary key. So click on primary key. I'm going to make it text. The data type will be text. Add another field. The next one is going to be known as NI, number, and that will be text as well. Followed by add another field, first name, add another field, data type text, another field, surname, the next one, surname is missing. Oh, come on. Surname, and the next one here, that will be known as gender. Add another field, date of birth, DOB. Then we add age, and finally the next one, I'm going to call that salary. There, and that is my database created. Let's change all of these to the data type to text. The choice is yours. I just want mine to be text. That is fine. So the database is created. I have my primary key selected, and just give it a name there, employee. There we go. Click on OK. Remember this name. Click on OK. There, the database is created, so I can now go straight into my project file. Right there, click on document, and right in here, and that is my database created for me. That's the whole idea. Now let's go back straight into Java NetBeans. Alright, back onto Java NetBeans. The next thing I'm going to do now, I want you guys to pay attention to this. I'm now going to copy the driver, so let's go to my download area. Right inside the download, that's the driver I've just downloaded. Remember the SQLite browser that is installed. Now that's the SQLite JDBC, the driver. I'm now going to add the driver straight onto my program here. Look at my file, open it up, copy, drag, drop. It's right there now. I can now close this. I don't need that anymore. Just minimize that. Okay, the next thing we want to do now is to go to the project file itself, right there, and I need the library. That's the library. Okay, right click on the library and let's select add jar folder, and let's look for wherever my file is. If I go straight in here, I can go, let's go to the documents. There we go. And where is it? There. And that's the driver. Click and click on open. There. Now I have the driver right inside my library there. So that's fine. Now the next step is, let's click on services. Right inside the services, make sure your driver is open. Okay, when you look inside the driver, I don't have an SQL driver there, so I will now right click, new. I will then browse to wherever I have my driver. I have my driver right here. If you guys can still remember the name of my database, click open. Okay, that is my SQLite driver. That's the name. Click on OK. Now, right underneath there is my driver. The next thing I want to do is to now have a connection. So let's right click on the database up here. Select new connection. Now I'm going to select SQLite. Okay, but I need my database. That's my database there. Select all and show my database. Okay, right there. That's my database. Click on next. Okay, make sure driver name is selected, SQLite. I'm going to leave out the name and I'm going to leave out password. Now I need to locate wherever my database is. Let's go back into where I saved my database. That is my database right there, and that's the folder. Right click on that folder, select copy address as text. Now come right here. You see where we have file? Get rid of that and paste what we've just copied. Add backslash. We now need the name of this very file. That's the name, employ. Enter employ right there. .db. Remember that, employ.db or whatever the name of your file is. Now click on test connection. That is important. There we go. Connection succeeded. Click on next, or you can just click on finish anyway. Right, click on finish. Now if you look up here, that is my connection. I now have my database in the house there. So that is fine. So the next step is for us to start to work with the program. The next thing I want to do is to import as follows. So I'm going to go straight to the source, scroll up, make sure you are right underneath your project name there. I will import the following data, the following libraries. You do not have to import it all. You can just import java.sql, but I've imported all of these. Now the next thing I'd like to do is, let me go straight to my exit, right click on that, and let's take care of the exit. Go to event, action perform, click on OK. Let's try that again. Event, action perform. Now right here, or up here first, I'm going to say private j frame as frame. So that is my variable there. Okay, right underneath here I'm going to enter the following: frame equals new JFrame. That's an object I've just created there, and the object has an alias of exit. Enter column. Now the next thing is to use an if statement. If J option plain dot show confirm dialog. Double click on that. Okay, and if that is, let's enter the name of the frame there, and right here it's just going to be my text. In there is going to be confirm if you want to exit. Confirm if you want to exit, comma, I will then enter the name of my system, employee, or employee database management system there. How about here? Enter column there, press enter. Now the next thing I like to do now is, no, that should be okay, comma, and the next thing is going to be J option dot yes or no option equals J option dot yes or no option. Okay, now right here I'm going to enter a curly braces, press enter, and the action is going to be system dot exit. Enter. There we go. And those are the lines of code for my exit. Okay, we can always try it out and you guys see how that works. There we go, guys. Oh, now try it out. No, I don't want to exit. Yes, I do want to exit. That is that taken care of. Now the next thing is, let's come in here, let's take care of the clear. Right click, event, action, perform. Let's try that again. Right click, event, action, perform. There, get rid of that. And the names of the file start with, I think the first one is jtxt employee id dot, I think that's incorrect. Let's check again. Okay, come right up here, right click. Alright, okay, it's employee. Copy, come right down here, paste, dot set text, and that will be, you can enter no right there. So the next one is text, copy paste, need 8 of those. There we go. The next one here is going to be for national insurance number, NI number. I think that is wrong as well. Now this one is first name, and so on, guys. I will now speed that up and get back to you. There we go, clear, taken care of. Now back in here, right click on print, event, action, perform, and right in here enter the following lines of code for clear, for print. So with the print, I'm going to enter as follows. Let's say message format, header equals new. So the message format itself, so we're just creating an object. The object is called header. A message format equals print, or let's say printing. Oh, let me do that right here. Printing in progress. Let's say in progress. Right. Okay, that's the very first one. Then the next one is going to be as follows. Message format. That will be for the footer, and that is going to be this. Okay, for the footer, I can always say page. Yeah. And that is going to be page 0, comma, number, comma, integer. And there we go. Now let's use try catch. That's just to prevent if there's any error. So it's going to be on a table, that's JTable. Yeah, JTable1 dot print, right? Yeah, dot print, and that is going to be JTable dot print mode right there. Okay, dot print mode, and enter parentheses there. Okay, now dot print mode, let's say dot normal and comma header comma footer. Close that. Now let's try and catch any error. Okay, so I'm going to say Java dot abstract windows 2 dot print. Okay, dot print exception, and E. Let's enter there. So I can now add a message box here. Let's say system dot error dot format, and that will be no printer found, and that is my error message here. So I can just say e dot message here, get message, e dot get message, and that's all there is to that of the print. There we go. Okay, this one should be curly braces. Alright, not square. There we go. Right, now we've taken care of the 3 buttons. Now the next important one is, first of all, I'm going to go straight into the source code and start the initialization. And right underneath here, come right down here, see where we have public employer database. We need to initialize as follows. But before I can do anything here, let me first of all enter the following lines of code here to connect my database. I'm going to say connection. Okay, I will call that con, and that will be equals nothing. That is the first connection taken care of. So let's say prepare or prepared or statement, prepared statement, and I'm going to call that PST equals nothing as well. Then I'm going to go for result. I'll call result set, and that would be referred to as rs equals nothing as well. And finally, I'm going to declare this for my table. I'm going to call that default table model equals, I'm going to say it is model, that is the name of my instance, equals new model. Copy all of this, paste it here, and parentheses, there we go. So that is taken care of. You need this for. Now right underneath here, I'm now going to do as follows. You might be wondering, why do I want to do that now? I might as well do it. Let's connect the employee database itself. Oh yeah, employer database. Copy and paste it right here. Employer database, and I'm going to just call that dots connect. Really, I don't have that yet, so that would be an error. Dot connect db. Okay, that's giving me an error because I have not created that procedure yet. Okay, let's hold it right there. Now let's do this. Instead of that, I'm going to create an object. This very object is to add my data onto my database, and that is going to be called column. That stands for column equals object column equals, enter a curly braces there, and inside that very curly braces I want the following: the name of my file, or the name of the columns on my file. So that's the first one, followed by the second one. But I do need the name. I must get the name right. I may have to open up my database. I need the names. It must be right. Okay, it's called, that is it. Let's open it up, go to modify. Yeah, it's saved, and right there. Okay, that's fine. Copy that, come right down here, paste that in there. It must be the right name, guys. If you call the wrong name, there will be an error. Then I have first name, comma, I have surname. This is to do with me being able to display all of my information on the table. The next one is gender, followed by DOB, date of birth, followed by age, and finally I now have salary there. That is all taken care of. Good. Now let's say model dot set column ID, this very one here, and that is the column ID. Okay, and finally I'm just going to attach it to my table. I think it's lowercase j table, I think the spelling is wrong. It's called table. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, well, it's called table 1. Oh, table 1. Okay then. Table 1 dot set model, and there we go. There. So with these lines of code here, I should be able to attach all of this data straight onto my table. Now that is taken care of. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, just to clear the air, is I'm going to undo this comment there. There'll be an error here. Okay, but to clear the air, what I will do is I'm going to copy that, and let's come right down here. Now I'm going to create a public class there. Come right down here, try that again. Okay, so public, and it's going to be a static connection, and the name is connection db, parentheses, enter curly braces. There we go, and that's that. So let's just try catch whatever error. So let's start by saying class dot for name. Very good, and that name is going to be org dot SQLite dot jdbc. Enter column here, press enter. Now let's link the driver. Connection con equals driver manager dot get connection, and the connection is going to be jdbc column SQLite column, and the name of my database, I think it's called employ there dot db. That's the name of my database. Next. Now the next thing, let's correct the spelling here. Now the next thing I want to do now is going to be right here. We need to enter return con. Okay, now right underneath here, let's say cache whatever error that might be. So exception E. Okay, and let's just throw in a message box there. So I'm going to say J plain add the following message. Where is it? Come back in there. Okay, dot show, that will be message dialog. I'll make that no, and there we go. I'll correct this one. There we go, and right there I'm going to enter return nothing. Once I enter that, this error here will be gone. Return no, and column. There, you see the error is gone. So that is fine. So that will help with my connection and with the connection here as well. You see this error here is gone as well. So if you notice what I've just done so far, I imported all of this, okay, just to get the database working. Then right under the name of my database, I've added the following lines of codes. Now right under the initialize components, I have all of those, calling all my columns, okay, and I've also entered that of the table there. Now right underneath here, I've created a public function for my database itself. Okay, now we need to take care of the add data itself. So before we can take care of the add data, I'm just going to run it to make sure there's no error or anything. Nothing is going to happen right now. The exit works. Whatever I enter here, we can clear that, and we can even print. There we go. That's the print dialog. Cancel that. But our data, nothing is happening. Now I'm going to exit out, and let's right click on add data, event, action perform, and let's do that again. Event, action perform. Right in here, let's get rid of this. The first thing I like to do is to say string, and I'm going to give that a name. Let's say SQL equals as follows, using uppercase, insert into, that's using SQL. The name of my database is called employee. Alright, insert into employee the following, and what would that be? The following will be the names for each of my files, each of my tables actually. So I'm going to copy all of these, come right down here, paste them right in here. Now let's get rid of these and just leave it with just ordinary commas. Alright, it's looking good. Now the next thing we want to do is, now that we have all of those information in there, we now need the value. Let's say values is as follows. So let's enter those in a curly bracket there, no, in a bracket, in the parentheses. That will be 1 comma there. We need 8 of those. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And we need a speech mark there to close everything. Alright, so get rid of that. Okay, the next thing we want to do now is I'm going to use try cache. Okay, right in there, let's say prepared states equals com dot prepare statement. Let's grab this, yeah, dot SQL, sorry, SQL. Alright, then PS prepare state dot set string, and what would I be? The very first one is going to be number 1, comma JTXT employee. I think I call it employee. No, what is the name? I need to find out the name. Employee. Yeah, there we go. Employee ID. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's wrong. Let's come in here and see. Okay, L was missing. That's why it looks right there. Yeah. Employee ID. So let's go back in here and correct that as well. That's fine now. So employee ID. Right here, JTXT employee ID will be the very first one. Dot get text, enter parentheses. So that's the very first one taken care of. Get rid of this. Now the next one is going to be for the NI, so I'm just going to copy this Okay, let's see. The next one is called what? Let's get the name of the very next one. That's it, NI, and the rest are a little bit easier to remember. Okay, then there, this will be 2, and this is first name 3. Get rid of this. Alright, this is 4, and the 4th one is surname. Okay, we need to close this here. It's now closed. Close this as well. You see all these errors? Let me just get rid of those. Let's say cache, and that will take care of those silly error. You see, it's all gone. So let's say exception, and the exception is E. There. Okay, that error is irritating, so let me continue here, and we'll come back to the exception later on. So let me say pst.execute there, and the next thing we want is, let's add a message box. There's a message box here. Let's copy one. Okay, I'll have one in here somewhere. Yeah, right here. Let's enter a message box there. Message box.show, and I want you to show as follows: show nothing, comma. Let me just say system update completed. Alright, that's when the data entered onto the system. That message will pop up. And the next thing is remind as well, just close the result, and let's close the prepared statement as well. Dot close. There we go. Now right underneath here, if there's any error, this is what I want the system to do. So shall we go for, okay, message box, comma, go to the system and tell us whatever error there might be. So that is for the button. Is the button add. Let me show you guys the code again. Let's add data. Okay, see that? All right. Okay, all that is left for us now is to take care of the updates. Now let's change this is an error. That should have been message, right? And this should be message as well. Okay, that's fine. Okay, the next thing I'd like to do is, let's at least try it out and see what's going to happen. Okay, let's say first run. Okay, let's enter some information there. Let's say is EMP and NI, and the name is Peter. Let's say surname is Parker, gender is male, date of death. Okay, that's easy to calculate. It's 19 years old, and its wages, let's say, is on, there we go, pounds. There. All we just need to do is click on add. Alright, click on add. There we go. Okay, now to be sure that those details that I click on is saved, let's go to the database. Let's come right down here and look for the database. Okay, open it up. There we go. Now let's say open database, and it's there somewhere. That's my database there. Okay, that's my database. Now let's go to browse data. There we go, guys. Look at the information of Peter Parker. Right, that is fine. The system is working. Okay, minimize that. So let's continue. Exit. Alright, let's create another public function so that we can use that to display all of the data straight onto the table itself. I'm going to come into the coding area and right underneath here, might as well right underneath the add function. Okay, come right down. Let's come here and say we're going to go for public void, and I'll call that update table. Right, and inside my update table here, let's say con equals, what is the name of my main system? Let's copy that. We need the name. There we go. There, that's it right there. Copy all of that and come right here, paste that there. Dots connect DB right up there. Column dot, let's say if con, it's in lowercase, is not equals to nothing, then we want all of this information. Let's copy that here instead of typing it all over. Yeah, copy. Now come right down here and paste it right here. Where is it? Right there. Paste. And we need to get rid of some stuff anyway. This has to go. There. And this, we need to change that to select. Select, that would be employee, or is the database called employee? It's called employee. Yeah, and inside employee, no, we don't need it. Select from the following columns. Those are all the columns. Right, get rid of this to make that. Right, and it's going to be from the database. There, that's my database. I believe that's the name of my database. Yep. Okay, now the next thing is I'm going to use try cache. Try. If there's any problem, I want you to cache it. I don't like this. Let's say cache there. Okay, and enter exception. So let me just copy that here. Exception, try cache, so that I'll prevent all of the errors. Let's paste that in there. There. So your silly error should be gone by now. Alright, all gone. Now, in here, the first thing I like to do is pst equals com dot prepare statement, and the statement is going to be that of SQL. Right, enter semicolon. Result equals pst dot execute query. There, semicolon. Now the next thing is going to be, let's say, object. Object is going to be an array. I'm going to call the name of the object column data, column data equals new object. Right, and in total I have 8. Okay, now using a while loop, y result dot next. Y result dot next. Column data, since it's an array, we start from 0. Copy that, paste that in there. Column data, the first one is 0, and inside 0 is going to be result dot get. Result dot get string, and that is going to be the very first one here, employee ID. Paste that in there. Employee ID. Let's close that. And the next one. Okay, get rid of this. Come on. Alright, so the next one, I'm just going to copy that. Oops. Okay, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. And this will be salary. NI number. Let's see, how did I write that? Okay, that's it. Copy that and paste that there. Alright, now the next thing is, before we can end this, let's attach it to our model there, so that our table will be populated with everything. Okay, mother.add row, and what are we adding? We're adding the content inside the column data. Paste there. Okay, I think that's all there is to it here. That's it. Okay, that is it done. So what I'm going to do now is, you see this very function here, I'm going to call it inside my add. So I'm going to just paste it right underneath here. You see, this is where I have all my add function, adding all of the necessary data. Okay, right underneath here, paste that there, and enter column there. What about inside the initialize? Let's come to initialize area here, right underneath here, paste as well. There we go, and that's all there is to it. So I'm just going to scroll right down gently so that you guys can see it. In the following way, imported all of this data, all of these libraries we imported, and that is the name of my file. That then declare as follows. Inside the initialize, I have all of those. Okay, get the database connected, and this following lines of code are to help me with adding the data onto the table. Now bring it down. This is the public connectors. Okay, and bring it down again, and I have exit. declare function, print function. Then I have add. Okay, that's just to add all of the data. Okay, let me show you the rest of it. There we go. Alright, now come right down the add function. There. Okay, and that's the update to update the table. So I'm now going to run the system, and let's click on. There we go, guys. You can see all of the information on the table already because the initialization was on. Okay, so let's enter some data in there and NI number. Name, let's say the name is Dave. There we go. All we just need to do now is add Dave information. Yep, you can see Dave's information there on the system already. So let's say we want to add another person. Let's say this guy's name is Larry Southwell. His wages is about that. Employee number, NI number, let's change that. So all we just need to do now is click on add, and there we go. There, guys, you see that. So with that, guys, I'm gonna call it the end of this tutorial. But before I leave, let me show you guys the database, just to reassure you that every single data in here is added onto the database. And let's click on the database. Where is it? There we go. Look at that, Larry Southwell. So with that, guys, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoyed. You all have a nice day now. Bye for now.